What can we say about the past trading day? The trading day of indecision. Hey there, Tamir from FIBONACCI-Traders.com, your daily market recap. Like, subscribe, let's see the charts. The day of the doji all across the board, almost. Don't go anywhere, we will talk about the SPY, the Qs, IWM, Nvidia, Tesla, Palantir, SMCI, and many more interesting names. We will start with the SPY. The SPY ended up the day with a doji of the 518 area. The 518 area is the Fibonacci resistance. It was resistance over here. Support now, once again, resistance, doji. Now let's see, can this doji, most of the times, when you see a doji, you can expect some kind of a pullback. Look here, we had 3-4 days of uptrend, doji, pullback, uptrend, doji, pullback, pullback, doji, boom to the upside. Now with this kind of doji, we might go and revisit the 515 and maybe even the 513 to the downside. This is how it looks. And the intraday, always zoom in, zoom out to get a better point of view of price action. Open the gap to the upside and then slowly grinding down, close the gap, and basically very tight price action throughout the SPY. QQQ, nothing much. Also close the day on the zero. Also doji of a Fibonacci resistance. This area, the 440 area, very important area of support and resistance since end of February. Now with this kind of doji, same goes for the QQQ. Some kind of a pullback back to the 435 will be expected, maybe less, maybe 437, but some kind of a pullback is expected. Also here we got ourselves a downtrend, doji, bounce, pullback, bounce, doji, pullback, doji, and upside. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dojis. Out of 6 of these dojis, 5 of them signaled a trend reversal. This is how it looks on the 65 minutes. Friday all the way to 543 during Tuesday and back to the downside. Dow Jones also with a doji inside the yellow zone. You remember we were talking about this yellow zone in the past few trading days. Dow Jones, 3 consecutive dojis inside the yellow zone. Now some kind of a pullback. 387 and 384 will be very much expected, breaking above it, and we will see this gap at the 395 will get filled. IWM also, you remember we talked about this broadening formation, the blue broadening formation, and we said let's see if we can break above this blue trend line. And what do we have here? An uptrend, the bounce of this lower border of this yellow broadening formation. We got ourselves a doji over here, then trend reversal all the way down. Now we got ourselves two dojis, 3 dojis, 1, 2, 3 dojis, bounce all the way to this blue trend line. Go back and watch the past few days, maybe few weeks or so, since middle of April. Watch the stock market recap and you will see all these lines. Now a doji of a trend line is the most significant signal in candlestick analysis for what might come, a trend reversal all the way to 202 and maybe even back to closing this gap. Why? Because we know that more than 85% of all gaps will get filled. Bitcoin, for the time I'm recording this video, we got ourselves a new, as you can see, a new daily candle, trend lines going to the downside. Now this area, the 6239, 62,390 is this resistance. It was support, now breaking below the yellow zone. Next support will be the 61,100 and then 60 to the downside. Overall downtrend on Bitcoin, also downtrend on Ethereum. The 3050, the 3050 on Ethereum was support, now broke to the downside. Let's see if Ethereum can break up and above, but for now Ethereum bearish on 3 out of 4 time frames over here. Going to the downside below the 29.60, we will see 28.14. Overall, nothing much on Bitcoin land, on Ethereum land, on crypto land overall. Magnificent 7, MAGS is the ticker, the ETF. All-time highs got rejected. Now, above it, we will see 41.73. This is the 39.50 is the support. Overall, also tight price range on the Magnificent 7 ETF and the MAGS in the past 3 trading days between the 39.50 and the 40.50. Nothing much we can do about it. Super tight price action below the 39.50. This gap at the 39 will get filled. SOXX Semiconductors ETF closed the day above the 50% retracement, which is a good sign. Now the 218 needs to hold the support, otherwise we will revisit the lower board of the yellow zone and we'll close this gap at the 212. Let's see, can we get break above the 223, 224, this higher border, the high border of the yellow zone? Can we close the week above it? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about the semiconductors all over? KRE, look at this. The Fibonacci indicator, the FTI, gives us everything that we need for future price action. 50-50. Not 50-50 chance. 50-50 is now a very tough resistance. Since it broke to the downside end of January, since then each and every time KRE tries to break above the 50-50, it's not a 50-50 chance. It's a 100% for now getting rejected. Now the 49.40 needs to hold the support. Otherwise, we will close this gap at the 49. Stay tuned for more price action, interesting price action from the KRE. Breaking above it, and we will see 41 and then 51, sorry, and then this gap at the 42.70 will get filled. What do you think? Which gap will get filled first on the KRE? This one over here at the 49 or this one over here, the 52.70? Let me know in the comments below. XLU, the utilities ETF, unstoppable beast. Look at this. Since middle of April, the XLU just going upside, straight, almost straight line, 11% in 3 weeks. Bulls are in full control on this ETF. Long continuation, and we will see 72 and 75 to the upside. Overall, super bullish. Some kind of a pullback will be super healthy. Retesting the 67 area as support before the next leg up. Like, subscribe, don't go anywhere. We have many more names to talk about. Apple 0.4% to the upside, holding above the 182, but overall mixed signal on Apple from the FTI. No long, no short, breaking below, and we will retest the 178, closing the weekly below the 178, and this gap at the 173.50 will get filled. Microsoft with 1% to the downside. Red day on Microsoft. Why? Not surprising. We are talking about this yellow zone on Microsoft in the past few trading days. And if we look back, we can see that the yellow zone is a very tough resistance and support for Microsoft. Look here, since end of January until it broke to the upside middle of March, it's a 1.5 months of inside movement. Also here, except this one over here, we can see that since middle of April, we are just moving sideways inside the yellow zone. The yellow zone now the 415 area. Once again, rejected price below 409. We will revisit 404, and then we have this gap over here. Let's mark it with red so we will know it's a gap. Meta 0.55 to the upside, closed the day with a doji inside the yellow zone, got rejected by the 50% retracement, pullback, 459 needs to hold, otherwise back to the 440 to the downside. Let's see continuation above the 472. No need to break our head. The next resistance is the 486 to the upside. Amazon, another day, another doji. 190 now is a very tough resistance. The 184 is the support. Can Amazon break above the 190? And then we will see 196. Google, 190 to the upside. As we said, and as we talked about in the past few trading days, we said as long as Google is holding above this yellow trend line that was resistance, it was resistance for the higher highs, which means a good resistance. Now it's support for the higher lows, and Google looks super bullish, going towards the 174. Above it we will see 186.60. Netflix close this gap. We said that this doji and a break above the 464, we are going in long on Netflix, and then breaking above the 478, we will add to this winning position all the way to close this gap. And here we are. This gap is filled. We have talked about this in the past few trading days and also in the Fibonacci-Traders Discord. So if you don't want to miss any kind of these moves, so join the Fibonacci-Traders Discord. Check the links in the description below. Join today and you will start seeing results almost immediately. Some days we do nothing, like the past trading day. We just did nothing at all because there was nothing to do. We took some Netflix in the beginning of the day, but overall Netflix closed the day at the high of the day. Now let's see, 616 and then back to the 640. Tesla breaking to the downside, 3.8, breaking below the 180. We said that breaking below the 180, the chances of this gap getting filled is increasing, and now it's above 95% chance that in the next 1 or 2 trading days this gap at the 172 will get filled. Bearish on all time frames except the weekly. We are still bullish on the weekly because we got ourselves this kind of bounce, but with this gap over here at the 172, then the 164, weekly close below the 164, and the 147 gap will get filled. Overall, this blue trend line once again proves itself as a very tough resistance. Nvidia 1.7% to the downside, but doji, the 908 area now is once again resistance. It was resistance over here since beginning of March. Very tough resistance. Now once again resistance. Let's see, we have a gap at the 870, maybe a pullback to the 870, touch at the higher border of the yellow zone, and then next leg up towards 974 and 1060. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Nvidia? Where Nvidia is heading? We still have time, 2 more weeks until Nvidia's earnings. MicroStrategy, another day, another doji. This gap is still open at the 1252 area, is still open. 2 consecutive dojis below the 50% retracement. Now the 1330 is the resistance. This gap is the support. Below it we will meet the 1180, breaking above, and we will see 1490 to the upside. AMD, once again, trend lines proves themselves as a very important area of support, resistance, and the true roadmap for future price action. As we said, as long as AMD is below the red trend line, the way is still down. The 160 area from support, now resistance, together with this red trend line. I'm waiting for at least 2 days above the 160, and then we at the Fibonacci-Traders Discord, we will reassess the situation for AMD, and then maybe we will start taking long above the 160. SMCI still inside this red downtrend channel. The 790 is the support. Mixed signals from the FTI. Nothing to do on SMCI, no long, no short, breaking below the 790, and we will meet the middle yellow trend line, continuing sliding down back to the 666. Palantir, 15% to the downside. Great example of why I always say, never, 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 never go into earnings with open positions. Monday, PLTR went all the way up 8%, and everybody says someone knows something. Bull trap at its best. Went down, look at this, went down 15%. Now, back to the 2020. You know this 2020. We talked about this 2020 in the past, during April, now breaking below it. And this gap at the 1790 will get filled. Bearish on all time frames. Shopify, last but not least, inside the yellow zone. Shopify. Tomorrow, Wednesday, before the opening bell, we have Shopify's earnings. Can Shopify, finally, can the market take Shopify back up to the 84 area, or breaking down and under back to the 68 and maybe all the way to this gap at the 62? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Where Mr. Market will take Shopify post earnings? Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Join me 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time, preparing together for the next trading day. Until then, stay safe.